Today I'm going to share with you some reflections on accents and dialects and how they sometimes cause problems for us. I will not be using the technical vocabulary of linguistics. You probably recall more of that than I do at this point, but I'm just going to think out loud and share some thoughts that I hope you will find helpful or at least amusing. Okay, I'll begin in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the European Commission in Brussels. I have the distinct honor of being their guest today. As you can hear, I have an American accent. That is because the English language is my first language, and I grew up in the United States of America to American parents who helped me to get this accent, even though my accent isn't necessarily identical to theirs. Let me begin my talk today by sharing with you a few observations. First of all, you probably didn't expect my accent. That's what makes accents so challenging. I think that's true for everyone, in general. It's certainly true for interpreters, and in a very special way. The biggest problem, I think, that happens when I hear an accent I don't understand very well, whether in day-to-day life, or, for example, in the booth, or when interpreting consecutively, is that I'm first taken over by a feeling of panic. I'm supposed to do my work. I'm supposed to understand the person who's speaking. I'm supposed to be someone with linguistic ability. And I can't sort out what this person is saying at all, at least not well enough to do my job in the way in which I would like. My first piece of advice to you in such a situation is to relax and take a deep breath. That may sound like a very American piece of advice to you. You're certainly welcome to rephrase it if you like. But I think it's very important. Years ago, I remember a series of meetings that I had, programs I was on, that lasted a number of days consecutively. On several of them, which were spaced apart probably once a year, I had a number of men who were part of the delegation from a particular country. I won't mention the name here, it's not important. Simply to say that it was a country with which I wasn't working on a daily basis. And these men all happened to be very, very accomplished people. It just happened to seem that they all had bass voices. So men, whose country I didn't know very well, who had these booming voices, were throwing me off. I couldn't understand their French hardly. They didn't seem to be making the sounds even the same way as people from other regions in their country. The rounding wasn't the usual way that one might use rounding for pronunciation in the French language. And so it was difficult for me. Really felt like I was being struck sort of by a drill or a loud booming noise as I heard them speak. And it took me a little bit to overcome my initial shock. Well, I did overcome that initial shock. I was eventually able to interpret them. The first step was relaxing, breathing, and taking a moment to try to understand what they were saying. Fortunately, I was able also to connect with them as people. On these particular programs, there were a number of opportunities in which there were somewhat more relaxed gatherings, or perhaps dinner or a drink at the end of the day. And so I was able to speak with the people I could not previously understand. I came to understand them quite well. I think it's very important that we understand that the people who are speaking, whose accents we don't understand or enjoy, are actually people. And it helps to come however we're able to get there, but to somehow reach a point where we understand them a little bit more as people. I think it also helps at that moment to just take some distance, particularly if you're in the booth or even more so if you're taking notes the right way in your consecutive, to just take a moment to understand. If you're doing consecutive, put your pen down. Listen for a second, then pick it back up. Now that's when you're in the moment and this comes up. What can you do to deal with this next time? Well, I think one suggestion is to figure out the place, where they're from. Very often accents are connected to geography. Learn more about it. You probably recognize that my accent is an American accent from the moment I started speaking. But do you know where I'm from in America? I'm actually from the northern part of the United States, and my accent fits into a particular accent geography called Northern. I speak with a Northern accent. If you go on the internet, you can research my accent. You can find accent and dialect maps of the United States, which not only trace out for you where the speakers of various accents live in the United States, typically, but you can also click on examples of men and women from various times in history speaking in each of these states. So it might be possible for you to be a little bit more prepared to hear my accent the next time it comes up. Something else I'll recommend to you, but don't tell anyone, is to use your friend. That's right, phone a friend. Who is your friend? The mirror is your friend. I think one of the ways that we actually learn language is through imitation. Now, I'm not recommending that you go around imitating people at parties. Please don't tell anyone that I told you to do that. But I am recommending that you try to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's speaking in this strange and unusual way, which is the accent you don't understand. Walk a mile in their moccasins, as it were. I think that when you do that, if you actually take time to practice their accent in front of the mirror, you'll start to understand the mechanics of how they're speaking a bit better. And once you understand the mechanics, and you feel a little bit more about who they are as a person, possibly, and where they come from, and why their accent is so unusual, you will actually find that the next time you face that accent, it should be somewhat easier for you. Anyway, I hope this helps you as you explore the wonderful world of accents and the wonderful variety of people with whom and for whom we work as interpreters. Please let me know what you think. Thank you.